In the world of professional wrestling, there is perhaps no ability more important than the ability to reinvent yourself. If you want longevity in your career, you have to know how to reinvent yourself, how to go from something that maybe isn't working as well as you thought it would to something completely new, completely fresh. And this ties in to the current story of Toni Storm. Just a few months ago, Toni Storm really looked like her career in AEW was going towards a downward spiral. She was a part of the Outcasts, which, while not a successful gimmick at all, and it had quite the go-away heat with the audience, at least Toni Storm was a champion in it. It was a main event staple, so while maybe the fans didn't love it, the fans still appreciated Toni Storm's in-ring work, and they were happy that she was the women's champion. But after she lost that title, things really started to look down for Toni Storm. She couldn't take advantage of the fact that she was in the best position that a women's wrestler in AEW could be, and that is the women's champion, because at least while the division's booking isn't very good, the women's champion typically has matches with the top stars in the company, and Toni Storm at that time really had to take advantage of her wrestling to get over because the gimmick was doing her no favors. And not only that, but that gimmick was imploding as Toni Storm went from the top star of that stable as the women's champion to being on the side as Saraya became the women's champion, and Toni Storm seemed out with the Outcasts. But instead of fading away into the women's division and just going from a women's champion to just another girl on the roster, Toni Storm learns the power of reinvention. She went from the struggling gimmick in the Outcast to what she is now, and that is timeless Toni Storm. The gimmick of timeless Toni Storm all started when she left the Outcast. After this, these backstage interviews would start to air where Toni Storm would become more and more unhinged. Eventually, we would get these other interviews, but in a different location, where Toni Storm would realize in herself that she was, quote unquote, timeless. This is this sort of Marilyn Monroe type gimmick. She's really the 60s movie star, black and white. It's a beautiful gimmick. It's one of the most entertaining gimmicks in AEW and the best work a women's wrestler has done on AEW television in the company's history. But where will this gimmick go? How far will Tony Khan take this? With that, I can't answer because I would love to say that Toni Storm goes to the top of the company. Top 10, top 15, because I truly believe she has the character down, she has the wrestling down, she can go that far. But Tony Khan isn't always the best in booking the women's division, and he has a long history of not giving it the props that it deserves. There is one thing that I can say for sure, and that is timeless Toni Storm will be a top star in the AEW women's division and will bring that division to new heights. How much, I don't know, but I do believe that she is the first character on AEW main roster TV, and that's not including Ring of Honor, because while I love Atina's work, it's not playing out on Dynamite, Collision, even Rampage on a regular basis, whereas Toni Storm is. She's the first character that I've been invested in. She's the first one who's really nailed down that character standpoint of women's wrestling in AEW. And yes, you have Julia Hart too, who you can make an argument for, but Julia Hart isn't really the greatest wrestler to back it up, whereas Toni Storm is one of the best wrestlers they have. So Toni Storm can have this fantastic gimmick, she can go into the ring and she can have these fantastic matches, and she's really the full package in the women's division right now. You put her in the ring against Hikaru Shida, you put her in the ring against a returning Thunder Rosa, you put her in the ring against Athena, you put her in the ring against anybody, and Toni Storm can produce excellent work. Toni Storm is going to bring this division to new heights, and it's all because of her ability to reinvent herself. Some of those matches I've mentioned have happened with the former Toni Storm, the Outcast Toni Storm, but they didn't connect. With this new gimmick, with the excitement around Toni Storm, this will connect even more. You have the gimmick, you have the wrestler, and you have a hell of a front and center leader for the AEW women's division going further.